What's going on, guys? This is Miasin, and welcome to the OCG metagame breakdown number 7. Definitely a really interesting one as well. It is definitely different from the last one, although Rescue Ace is still the best deck. This time Labyrinth is, as you can clearly see, no longer really, well, I mean, it's still one of the best decks, but not really the second best deck because it is getting, overshadowed by Purely and Tearlaments, which it has always seen play in the OCG. I don't know why. I mean, I know why. It's because they have Chaos Ruler, they have Curious, they have a bunch of cards that we don't have. They also have Fairy Tale Snow. It is ridiculous, and today I will be going over pretty much all of the top 3 deck lists, as well as the reason why these decks are the best decks. And this report will cover 183 top performing decks from 33 tournaments during the span of around 1 week in a few countries, so Japan, mainland China, South Korea, and Vietnam. Again, huge shoutouts to Akira for always giving us these sick-ass articles, and this is fresh from today. Anyways, before this video starts, make sure you like and subscribe. You already know the drill. Really motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these, and now let's get right into it. Alright, so the number 1 best deck by a long shot, actually 25.7%. We've had like so many tier 0 formats that it was always like either 15% because it's just a regular tier 1 deck, 40, 50, 60% with like Tearlaments, and then Ishizu Tearlaments was like much better, 25.7%. So that's a lot actually. Rescue Ace is really killing it, and every single build, no exception, is playing Sinful Spoils, which is one of the craziest engines in the OCG right now. And we're going to be getting it in Age of Overlord. It's really nasty. So essentially, there is a card that's pretty much like an engage because you get to search a monster, the monster gets you a spell or trap, and you also get to draw a card when that spell or trap, whatever, hits the graveyard or the banish, so you can put it back on the bottom of the deck, something like that, and then draw 1 card. It's absolutely wild. You do have to discard 1 card, but you're getting so much in return because your Turbulence is also setting you 4 cards. The Rescue Ace deck has so many different builds. There's like one of them that summons like actual Link monsters, very similar to Mathmech. They can summon Terahertz and then send the fusion, as well as the Mirror Logic Aggregator on their opponent's turn, which gets them 2 negates with only 1 Link monster. And then, of course, they still have Turbulence with a bunch of other things. That gives them a negate for if you have like Dust or Lightning Storm. Therefore, hand traps might be better against Rescue Ace than, board breakers, but at the same time, they can dodge Veiler and Imperm if they have Emergency, so that if you Veiler or Imperm the Turbulence, they can shade Emergency and then destroy it and then summon something else, and then they still get their set 4. And the OCG, they actually have SP Little Knight, which is a ridiculously broken card. I will cover that later on. But yeah, Purely, obviously still a really good deck, even though Sleepy Memory is at 1. They have 3 Delicious Memory, so it really doesn't matter. I mean, again, Sleepy is better than Delicious, but yeah, that's not going to be enough to stop Purely, especially when Kashtira is not a thing. Tearlaments, that's something that you can expect, but one thing that I do find interesting is that the Horus engine is not seeing much play now. You can still see that most of the Tearlaments builds are still playing Sinful Spoils. Really good. And one thing that's really spicy would be the, not Matadome, but rather a small Visa Starfrost Scareclaw package, which again, I will be covering later on. Anyways, Labyrinth. Okay, so this deck is kind of losing in popularity. I mean, if you're playing Labyrinth and you're going second against Rescue Ace, you're not gonna have a really good time, honestly. It's gonna be really bad. Again, Rescue Ace, they have like so many unfair cards. Like, they have Auroradon. Like, bro, their format is so whack. I'm so glad I don't live in the OCG, man. Anyways, Runic, yeah, with 1 fountain, very interesting. You Cosmic Cyclone their fountain and they're screwed. This is pure branded. I think the Chimera engine is still seeing a little bit of play, just not... Okay, yeah, you see, sometimes it's just like a splashable engine in some other engine decks, which is funny because in the TCG, it's actually already quite popular. Anyways, Supreme King Magician, this is also really insane. The trap card allows you to get access to Zark, which is like non-negated, and that's like one of the most insane cards out there. It's pretty much like a Ojama Delta Hurricane upon summon, like you get to destroy every single card on your opponent's field. Like, bruv, like, are you kidding me? Absolutely wild. Anyway, Sky Striker, this deck sucks, honestly. I don't even know why it's like doing so well, even though like 5 to 47, yeah, it's not even doing that well. Unchained, whatever, I mean, it's also a good deck. Adamantipator, this should be doing better because they have Block Dragon. Salamangreat, this is also a very good deck. So, it's actually funny because in my top 10 video, I talked about Salamangreat and Unchained. So, it makes sense that they're here. It's just that, they're on the lower bracket of the top 10. Unlike, Rescue Ace and Purely, which are much better. Even the TCG version of Rescue Ace is, way worse than the OCG version, but it's still in the top 10 best decks. But I don't know if it would be in the top 5, maybe like 5th or 6th. something along those lines. But yeah, Tri Brigade. So one of them is playing the Chimera Tri Brigade, you know, deck, which is cool. I mean, you know, everything is like a beast or a Phenom. Well, actually, Phenom Illusion doesn't really, it doesn't really make sense with the Tri Brigade, but whatever. I mean, you have to. Vanquish Soul, Grass, Sinful Spoils, Ishizu, Thunder Dragon, Bestial Punk. What is this? 60 card deck with like 7 different engines. Horus something, Horus that, Vanadium, not doing jack shit. Which is actually, again, hilarious when I see people side deck in the TCG. They all have like Super Poly with Dragon Knight, Draco Equist. So they're all super ready for Vanadium, but nobody plays the freaking deck, so it doesn't matter. You're over-preparing for nothing. Mathmech Adignister, Phantom Knight, again, Horus Phantom Knight, no shit. Horus Punk Phantom Knight. The Horus engine is actually insane, but again, for some reason, people are dropping it from Tearlaments. I'm not really seeing it anywhere here. Maybe there was like one build, but I don't know, maybe not. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, Shadal, Sinful Spoils, Dogmatic Invoked. Actually, this makes a lot of sense when I think about it. It was about time that someone finally took Invoked back in the meta, but yeah, actually, we haven't seen Invoked Dogmatica for in a while, honestly. Yeah, it's sad to say, but the best deck to summon Shadal Winda is actually Tearlaments, so yeah, if you want to lock people out with that annoying-ass Floodgate, you know what deck to play. Synchron, yes, okay, cool deck. It's just a little disappointing how they can kind of struggle big time going second, but maybe this is going to fix it, so the Sinful Spoils engine, I mean, it just fixes everything, right? It just gives you so much gas. Tri Brigade, Lyrilusk, blah, blah, blah. I don't really care about anything here, especially since they're all one-ofs, but yeah, you can take a look for yourself. Anyways, for Rescue Ace, so this is very interesting. So this build right here is actually playing one of the Infernoble Richard Ditto in the main deck. So it's a level 1 fire. I hope I pronounced it correctly. It looks Italian. Yeah, whatever. It's a level 1 fire warrior tuner monster that you can summon with this card right here. The spell card in between the Treasure Hunter Fiend or something and Triple Tactic Talents. So it's a one-of, but that's the card that summons your Hydrant usually. Special summon directly from the deck, like literally for free. It's actually ridiculous. I mean, it's pretty much like a 1-for-1, but I mean, better actually. Yeah, another crazy thing about this combo is that it allows you to go into actual synchro monsters. This is a level 1 tuner, and you can also banish it from the grave to summon a level 4 lower fire warrior monster from the hand, and it becomes a tuner monster, so that you can make 2 tuners. So you can make Formula Synchron, draw a card, and then, I don't know, use it as a link material or something, or use this right away for a link material, and then when you're summoning your Airlifter or Impulse, you're going to be able to synchro summon either with a fire attacker or with, I forgot the name of the other one, fire engine, in order to synchro summon for Baron de Fleur, because the monster that you summon off of Richard Ditto becomes a tuner monster. So that's actually really spicy, and yeah, everything in this deck is fire, so one really annoying thing that I do have to mention about this Richard Ditto monster, though, is that you can only use 1 effect per turn and only once that turn. And another thing is that when you use the Monster Reborn effect, I think it has a Monster Reborn effect, you're locked under Warrior Monsters, special summon warriors for the rest of the turn only, which is a little annoying, but you can still summon Baron because that's a wind, and SP Lodal Knight. And this card is completely cracked. This is how you're dodging everything in Rescue Ace, because this is kind of like a reactive Farfa. When your opponent activates a card or effect, you can chain SP Lodal Knight to target 2 monsters on the field, including at least one of your monsters, and then you banish both until the end phase. It's at least one of your own monsters, and then one of your opponent's monster, or another one of your monsters, and you can dodge like Valor, Imperm evenly. And another crazy interaction with SP Lodal Knight, I actually learned that after I made my video about it. You can banish a used up Baron de Fleur, and then when it comes back, it's no longer like, it forgot that it actually used this effect before, so it becomes like not used up again, and you can use the effect of Baron to negate something else. So that's actually really spicy. And another interaction is that you can banish like a Naturia Beast or something that you summoned off of Fusion Armament, and I think that's the name, whatever. And then when it comes back again, the Naturia Beast is unnegated, and then you can start negating stuff with, I mean, negate all kinds of spells. So yeah, Lightning Storm Duster not gonna be doing jack shit against you, and again, Naturia Barkion to negate evenly, or to screw over Labyrinth. Actually, if you do that against them, they're super screwed. Yeah, this deck is the utility / synchro build. And then again, there's another one that's playing Terahertz. I've actually seen some deck list in the TCG running it. It's definitely interesting. You can go for it if you want to, but I mean, it's a little complicated, and it loses to Nibiru for no given reason. So if you want to just like end on a weak board, but never really lose too hard to hand traps, you know what to do. You can just play like super conservative, and it might be enough to carry you to victory. But then if you get Duster or Lightning Stormed, you're not going to be really happy, or even lead, actually, yeah. Or even sometimes Kaijus, because you can only really use your Rescue spells and traps if you control a Rescue monster, and that's a major inconvenience, unfortunately. But yeah, very cute and resourceful extra deck, a lot of options here. Need Gearsu to get rid of untargetable, indestructible by whatever monsters. Underworld Goddess to like straight up clear anything. And then the Preventer is also an indirect out to... Wait, hold on a second. Is the name Preventer or Impulse? Yeah, no, it's actually an Impulse. I'm stupid. Preventer is the Book of Moon, I think. Anyways, Impulse, the level 3 monster, allows you to target a monster your opponent controls, I believe, with the highest attack. So the player cannot activate the effect of that monster. If you can use it on Expurli Noir, it will not be able to use its spin effect. And even if your opponent, like, chains the Expurli Noir, you can chain the Impulse to summon something like a Airlifter from the deck. And then you can get your stuff going. So yeah, this card is actually really nasty against Purely, and this deck, I want to say, has a good matchup against Purely, if you know what you're doing. And also, you play a lot of hand traps and a lot of just overall good cards. And this deck doesn't really play any bricks when you think about it. I mean, honestly, when it comes to me, I don't really like Fire Attacker and Fire Engine. I would try to play without them and maybe play 3 Preventer and 3 Rescue Turbulence, but that's just how I see things. But I agree with pretty much everything else that I'm seeing on the screen, and really glad that this player is playing the field spell, because I've seen some builds without the field spell. I'm not a big fan at all. It doesn't really make too much sense, because then you have like 0 grind game and everybody can start beating you, even Labyrinth. But this card gives you like infinite resources. Every single time your card gets banished or sent to the graveyard, you can shuffle them back or put them back on the bottom of the deck, whatever. Draw 1 card, and you always have gas for your Turbulence. You always set 4 every single turn. Like, what the hell is this? Imagine a multi-rule that gets you everything back, but like they don't get banished when they leave the field. Pretty much that's like the same thing in a way, because you're always getting back your stuff anyways. You can get Shifter, it doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, this deck can play Shifter itself. You don't even lose to Shifter this much. Like, you really don't care if your cards get banished. It's also very interesting that there are still Bestial Monsters being played on the side deck, but again, when Tearlaments is the 3rd best deck, it's kind of understandable. Lancia for... I don't know what exactly. I mean, it's not too bad against Rescue Ace in the mirror match, because you can stop your opponent from like summoning the Turbulence from hand. Yeah, Runic, yeah, it is one of the more popular decks, and Lancia is pretty good against Runic. They can't really use anything outside of the instant fusion-esque effect, because everything tries to banish one of your cards, and that would not actually be a legal activity. I don't know, maybe, whatever. You let me know in the comment section, but I'm pretty sure if you have something like a Chaos Hunter or something, they can't really use the effect that they want with the Runic cards, I'm pretty sure. Same thing with Imperial Iron Wall, so it should be the same thing with Lancia. Anyways, Dark Ruler, Cosmic, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then one of that's actually a board breaker. It's searchable in the package because it is a Sinful Spoils spell card, and you can use it right away because it's a normal spell. So if you're setting it with the Dia Bellstar, because you have to set a card, you don't actually search it, which is good through Ash and Jewel. Anyways, Purely, nothing about this almost talks about like the actual Purely deck itself, but everything I already covered. So the Rescue Ace deck is the most popular deck, so you have to deck build to beat it, and pretty much everything about this deck allows you to play inherently around hand traps and even board breakers now, because they're making negates. They can even almost play around evenly by like mitigating the impact that it has against you, because they're gonna be banishing their own monsters, so at least they get them back, and they have to banish like less cards from the Evenly. So Evenly is not even that good, but it's still played at 2 in this side deck and in this side deck, which again is interesting, because if you do that in the TCG, you get bullied like crazy. Like, bro, you're only playing a 2 of non-searchable. That's a card that's a 3 of. This deck is cracked. Honestly, I really find it unfair. And the fact that, again, they have 3 Delicious, even though they have 1 Sleepy, is just still... doesn't change the fact that it's still a really good deck. 2 Desires, 1 Prosperity. I don't think people in the TCG would really, you know, agree with that, because Desires and Purity looks really rough. If you banish too many monsters, you just don't really have a grind game anymore. But that's the reason why the Purely Yeep is a 3. Because you really have to shuffle back your monsters, and again, you might be playing with a limited amount of kitties. But yeah, the safest way, by the way, to beat the Rescue Ace build, now that they have ways to play around hand traps and board breakers, is simply to Sphere Mode them. And Purely is not a deck that relies on the normal summon, so Lava Golem, Sphere Mode, definitely cards that you can play in the Rescue Ace deck. And if they're always ending on a bunch of monsters, then, you know, Sphere Mode is absolutely cracked. And you can draw like 2 Sphere Modes, it's not really bad, because worst case you just discard it for your Purely spells. So yeah, there's really no drawback to playing like actual devastating side deck cards like Sphere Mode, Lava Golem, etc. I really agree with that. And I mean, same thing with the other cards, and a lot of utility one-ofs in the side deck. The issue is that it's playing like one Herald of the Abyss, one Talents, one Terraforming. This is cool and all, but it's only playing one Tactic Thrust, which I'm not a really big fan. Like, if you want to commit to playing all these one-ofs, you might as well just play like more copies of this card. I don't know, because also Prosperity is just at 1, and you don't have a lot of search or draw power for your non-engine cards, only for your actual engine cards, unless you're like drawing them with Desires or getting them with Prosperity, but like, that's not gonna happen too much, because this deck is not drawing 6 cards on the opponent's turn with 3 Sleepy Memories underneath, because again, it's a one-of, so now, since you're only drawing 2 cards, it is replacing the lack of advantage by playing Desires. That's the reason why they're doing it. It's not because they want to, it's because they have to. And yeah, this deck is also playing the not really the evil version of Zeus, but rather it's Arch Nemesis, the Typhon something Doomsday Star, whatever, I couldn't care less. It's a good card, that's all you have to know. And the barrier shits on purely, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, Tearlaments have inherent ways to play around it because, well, through it, because they fusion summon a lot, but they also synchro summon and link summon and XC summon. Yeah, fun for the whole family. And Rescuaze doesn't do jack shit. Like, there's nothing, like, you can't debarrier link monsters, and you also can't debarrier effect monsters. Otherwise, you know, it would be nice. Anyways, Tearlaments. So again, a lot of things that are not relevant for us, because it's not that they cheat, it's just that you know, they cheat a lot because they play a lot of cards that we don't have. Like, bro, this deck is banlist deck. Even though they have like less Tearlaments cards than we do, because they have only 1 Reno Heart and 1 Field Spell, it doesn't matter, honestly. And even the Brave Token engine is like kind of murdered, but not really, because not even actually, because most people would only be playing 1 or 2 copies of Right anyways, so it doesn't matter that it's a 2 of. It's funny, it's almost helping people deck build better. I wasn't really seeing anyone play 3 Right, even when it was a 3 of. But Water Enchantress, on the other hand, it's a card that you want to play multiples of because it's good to mill, it's good to discard, etc. So it's the kind of card that you want to draw more than Right, actually. It's also weird that there's no Griffin Rider, Illusion Knight instead. They're just used maybe as synchro and link materials, so it makes sense. Again, Chaos Ruler with a hot red, absolute bullshit. And they're playing also Jet Synchron and Glow Up Bulb. Holy crap. Yeah, actually, these cards are only used to sync in with the Chaos Ruler for the hot red. Nothing else. A few hand traps for some reason. I can't believe this deck even has the space for that. And there's also no Kashtira Field Spell, even though it's not banned. You can still hold on a second. Yeah, I don't think any Kashtira card is banned. You can still play Kashtira, it's just that it's complete piss because everything is at 1. But yeah, you could at least do like 1 Fenrir, 1 Field Spell to search your Tearlaments Kashtira. Also play Shadal Monsters because this build is not playing any Shadal cards. Instead of that, it is playing, this is also again very sus, but it is playing a Visa's Samsara package. So it is a 1-card Chaos Ruler because it is a level 4 tuner, so that you normal summon it. It doesn't really have an effect, honestly. I mean, it has an effect in the hand that you can special summon by doing some bullshit like shuffling back your Visa's monsters from the graveyard or banished into the deck. But that's irrelevant. You're gonna be normal summoning it and then go into the Lightheart. And you're going Lightheart, not liked, the name changed. Search the Reichphobia, and then search the Scareclaw Reichheart, and then special summon it, and then search the Nova, and then Monster Reborn this. It's a level 4 tuner, and the name is always treated as Visa Starfrost on the field or in the grave. And then 4 + 4 = 8. And you have a Dark Dragon and a Dark Beast, or Beast Warrior. And then you can make a Curious if you have any other dark monster that doesn't match these types. So you can actually mill a bunch of cards because the Curious can also send a Guido or Kelbeck, and then you're going to be milling 5 with them, and then mill an extra 3 with the Curious, so that's mill 8. That's also very fair. But yeah, only 1 Scream, which again, you can't really do over here. People are going to laugh at you. No Crime, but I actually respect it. I don't think you need Crime. 2 Solic should be enough. And apart from that, I mean, it's a pretty solid deck, but it looks really complicated to play. And actually, another thing that I really like about this deck list, the fact that you're playing the Visa's package, even though it's not the Visa's package that you're used to, it allows you to go into the Vicious Astrolaud, which is good for breaking boards going second, but it is also a very easy to access Dark Fairy monster. So actually, if anything, that's how you're getting Curious consistently, with the exact same setup every single time. You just need a Visa's monster, as well as a monster with a heart stats. So yeah, 1 card, full combo. Actually, that's kind of wild. You're gonna be milling 13 cards and excavate 1 light or dark. Hey, yo, that's kind of nice, actually. Yo, if you're down, I could actually make some combos for the OCG, if anyone is interested. I mean, I might not get enough views because, you know, most of my viewers are TCG, but yeah, it's still interesting. But yeah, I already knew it. I already knew about that before, but it is really cool that they can do all that. And then, yeah, side deck, heartbeats, whatever. I mean, they don't have Kid Kalos. And DD Crow, yeah, we're back in the good old days before the Bestials. They freaking ruined everything. Even though I do find it interesting that still playing DD Crow over the Bestial monsters. But yeah, it is good against Purely. When they go Purely Lily to target a spell in the grave, you can DD Crow that shit. And it is better than Veil or Imperm in that situation, because if they have the field spell, you're almost negating the Purely Lily without negating it, which means that you're playing around that annoying field spell very well. And yeah, in conclusion, Rescue Ace is by far the best deck. Labyrinth is getting worse. The Sinful Spoils package is absolutely everywhere, and the extra deck for the Rescue Ace deck is different for everyone. And Tearlaments is definitely becoming more and more diversified in its deck building, actually, with so many engines being splashed in the deck. And then Labyrinth is also, I mean, this is nothing new actually, but Labyrinth is mostly played as a trap, pure trap deck with like a very small Unchained engine sometimes, but not even very often. It's like one monster and one trap card, so nobody cares. Anyways, that's all I had for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.